looked at my wife. I said, I don't understand this. Why is this happening to me? I can't even walk.
Right.
We got in the car. As I'm on the way over there, I'm like, stop. Like, you ain't going to play this game on me, Satan. Hold on. I get that this hurts, but this can serve a purpose for me, and I'm going to find it today one way or another.
What happened there? It just clicked?
I can't live in that. Like, that negative, like, what do you mean, why did this happen to me? Who cares?
You felt that yourself in that negative
As soon as I felt that energy, and I had to look at my wife, I mean, I'm crying. I'm in pain. Like,
yeah.
It felt like somebody took a baseball bat to my groin at that point. Like, can't make it to the bathroom kind of pain.
Yeah.
Ready?
Welcome to the show, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to yet another amazing show here at Talk Our Podcast. We are live in Indianapolis, Indiana.
Yep. Okay.
My name is Marty Norman.
And I am still Brian Gordon.
He is still Brian Gordon. Now, that being said, he's still Brian Gordon, the man, the myth, the legend. But is he really a man anymore?
Oh, stop.
I don't know, man. I want to talk about this because I heard a rumor.
I lost a little bit of my soul.
Actually, I saw a picture. Chris, can we post a picture right here, please?
Yeah. If that won't demonetize us, go for it.
I don't think we should do that. But Mr. Brian Gordon lost a nut, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey. I did not lose a nut.
Do you have to edit that? Is there a beep that's supposed to be there?
I still have all of my active male functioning parts, even though they never really worked to begin with, because I don't have any kids that I know of.
I mean, do you feel less than? No, that's the question. Do you feel like less of a man?
I didn't. Okay, so
I'm sorry. I'm just kidding.
I didn't quite understand. I didn't even know what happened. I thought I got a hernia.
Okay.
Because it was very high in the groin area, and so it looked like what they call lower inguinal hernia. I've had 4 hernias, so I thought this is probably another one. Like, I've had a lot. So I have like a weak lower stomach lining. I had one when I was a baby. And the doctors flat out said there's a good chance that he will have hernia issues throughout his life.
So he decided to do...
So I just had to go bodybuilding and weight training.
Yeah, I was going to say, he decided to lift heavy weights
and do as much stupid crap as I could. And so I thought that's all it was. So I go down... Thursday, I start feeling pain. It's Thanksgiving. That ain't going to happen. I ain't ruining Thanksgiving. It's time to suck it up. We're just going to deal with this, right? I'm just going to be a little uncomfortable today. That's okay.
Guys, ladies and gentlemen, listen. This is
Go ahead.
A stubborn SOB right here. I mean, literally, like a little bit of pain in that area. I'm sorry. If I get a tidbit, a little tickle, I'm running to the emergency room immediately.
Oh, yeah.
I'm kidding. That's not true. But anyway,
I was just like, it's Thanksgiving. Like, I don't need everybody stressed out. I don't have a fever. I don't have anything that's telling me anything is serious.
I just got some pain.
I'm just in some pain. It feels like every hour or so, someone gives me a swift kick to the
groin.
Yeah. And then I just hang out for a minute and move on with the day. So
wow.
Friday comes in. My wife's got to set up for a craft show. So I'm like, today's not really a good day either. Right. So I'm going to just see how it goes. I'm taking it easy. So I laid on the couch all morning, just kind of lounge, whatever. She needed to do her thing.
Could you feel anything in there? Like,
no.
Okay.
It was just,
did you inspect?
I couldn't put my legs together. Like it hurt. Like it was very tender.
Did your wife inspect?
Yeah. Because I said, what does this look like? She's like, it looks like a lump. Like it looks like a small golf ball.
Oh, so you could see it.
You could literally see it.
Okay.
And so,
third nut.
It's what it looked like. And so she was like, I don't know. And I'm like, I think it's just a hernia. They're usually not that serious unless you're getting a fever. If it's not better by tomorrow, because it had swollen before, like 2 weeks ago, and went away.
Hold on, though. Time out. If it's not better. So in what world will a third nut disappear?
So 2 weeks prior to when I got injured doing something, and it swelled up. Like I hit in the groin and it swelled up, and I was like, oh, geez. And it looked similar, but then the next day it was like gone, just tender for a day. So I was like, okay, maybe I just hit it wrong.
Just write that off.
Yeah, whatever, right? But then it came back, and I was like, what the heck? So Saturday morning, she's got to go to her craft fair. I wake up and I'm like, I got to go to the hospital. And she was like, okay. So she's getting everything ready, and I'm like, no, I'm going to the hospital. You're going to your craft fair. And she was like, you're crazy. No, I'm not. And I said, you're not a doctor. I don't even know if anything is wrong yet. So let me go see what's going on, and then I'll call you. If it's like an emergency, I'll get your ass to the hospital. They say no big deal, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, long story short, Monday night I ended up in emergency surgery. It was a very light, I just found out today, it was a very light, like a skin infection, like a form of, what do you call it? Staph, like very light skin staph. Like you can get it being in a dirty warehouse. You can get it anywhere almost. But like it was just, he said it was a mix of, because I groomed myself, so I had ingrown hair. Mm-hmm. And so naturally it's bugging me. I'm picking at it. And then I probably did something stupid with my hands and then picked at it and caused a minor infection that I should have just gotten checked out. And it turned into...
What a horrible place to get a staph infection.
It turned into like a legit issue. So they're like, now you have emergency surgery. So we go that night. And the main reason why I want to talk about this is like... So my mom...
Yeah, just so you guys know, the whole show is not going to be about his private areas.
Right. Definitely not.
So there's a point to all this.
The point to this is that when my mom showed up at the hospital because she found out on the internet, that's how everybody found out. She was like, oh, why are you in the hospital? And so she rushes down and she looks at my wife and she goes, like, why hasn't anybody done anything until now? My wife said, I didn't even know. Like he's... said he was in pain, but he said it wasn't that big of a deal. Like he grunts when he puts a shirt on sometimes. It is what it is. My point being, I have a decision to make when I'm in pain. I can either be a victim or I can use it to drive me. And so what I chose was to let it drive me. I'm going to get what I need to done unless I'm physically feeling something that concerns me, like fever, things like that's when you know your body's out of homeostasis. You need to do something about it. Mm-hmm. I decided that I was just going to suck it up and not play victim. Poor me, blah, blah, blah. Let's just go on with the day.
Well, let's recap though. Let's recap though. I think what you're saying is basically that. Now, I'm not saying. So the time that you spent from the initially understanding that okay, there's a problem here. Mm-hmm. I got a third thing going on down here, to the time you actually went to the hospital. That's not what we're talking about.
Yeah,
we're talking about when you finally went to the hospital and you realize, okay, I got to have surgery. I got to get this done. I got to knock it out. Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm not going to sit here and just
complain, right? About anything. Like, my whole thing is, like, I bitch about things at work and I complain about stupid things, right? And I don't even think about people like nurses. Mm-hmm. Like, that's got to be a hard job. Most people show up to the hospital on a bad day. There's nothing good about it. Most, I'd say 90+%, right? So every interaction you have is somebody experiencing pain, the unknown,
I think the
anxiety.
The only good thing you would ever go to the hospital for is like maybe a birth.
Right.
You know, and it's
right.
That's one of 100, I think.
Even then, it's a very chaotic situation if you're the nurse, right? Because now you got to do this, get this. You know what I mean? She's screaming, she's yelling at her husband or not, or whatever. You know what I mean? Like,
I hate you.
Right.
You did this to me.
Right. So when I show up somewhere, it's like, hey, how you doing? She's like, how are you? I'm like, in some pain. Right?
Let's cut this off. Let's go.
Okay, what do you want to do about it? And I'm like, tell me what we can do about it. Mm-hmm. I had one instance, and it brought a tear to my eye. He was getting ready to stab me to see what was behind the opening, like the lump. And he's like, do you want anything for the pain? And I was like, I said, look, I've had an addiction problem. I don't play with that stuff. And so basically his way of putting it was, I don't need you to kick me in the face. And I don't need this to go sour, so I need to take the edge off because this is going to hurt. Mm-hmm. So he gave me 2 milligrams of morphine. Mm-hmm. He said, as soon as I see your pupils jump, I'm going to stab you. And that's exactly what he did.
Oh, no.
And he pulled out like a full syringe of infection. And I was like, okay. He was like, yep, you're going to surgery now. Basically, the doctor that was doing my anesthesia said that if I would have waited any longer, actually, they would have been like possibly cutting off part of my manhood.
Yeah.
It was traveling fast. Like it went from nothing to something in a couple of days. At the end, it was by the hour, it was getting worse.
Yeah, yeah.
And so my thing with the nurses and with everybody was just like, hey, like it is what it is. I can treat you like crap, or I can just try to enjoy this a little bit. Like I'm getting answers. I'm getting it fixed. I'm getting it done.
2 milligrams of morphine.
You know, I'm good. But then it was like, that was Sunday. They didn't operate till Monday. So they punctured it that was Monday morning. So they punctured it Monday morning. I didn't get surgery till Monday night.
Yeah. All I know is I got a message from him saying, all right, man, you got surgery done. Let's get back to work. Let's do this.
Damn straight. Hop along, Sally. I may not get there fast, but I'm going to get there. And then I went to work the next day. And I'm hobbling and I'm in pain and it is what it is. But I can't sit at home and complain and play victim and sit there with my thoughts and wonder about all this crap. And it struck this thought in my mind where I was like, why everything I believe happens for a purpose. So I started thinking like the uncontrollable thing that would drive you to go to the hospital, but why? Well, I started thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking. And I started realizing, man, I've been really scared to go get my nuts checked for testicular cancer. Well, they checked them when I was there.
I bet you got that done.
They got that done. And I mean, literally, I've been worried about this for a couple of years now. Here and there, like I'd have a good week where I'm like, oh man, I really should. I'm checking for lumps and doing the thing, and like, I'm dying. As an addict, you go down the dark road every now and then, no matter what. But I didn't want to face it.
Yeah.
So I feel like this is my manifestation of creation saying you're going to deal with it. It's going to be harder than you could have dealt with it.
That's God doing for you what you couldn't do for yourself.
Exactly. Exactly. So why can I be mad at that and bitch about that? That's a gift.
Well, I think this is a metaphor for everything that we talk about on the show. I think it's a metaphor for everything that we talk about on the show. And it's all about mindset, right? Mm-hmm. And it's all about perspective. Take the actual deal, because metaphor being, we in life we go through hard times.
Absolutely.
We get beat down by life on life's terms. We have so many different failures, which we don't choose to call them failures, mm-hmm. right? They're growing experiences, and but sometimes these things in life that don't go our way, that some things are within us, mm-hmm. right? Some of the failures and the hard times and the turmoil and all the stuff that we go through is within us. And then sometimes it's outside of ourselves and outside of our control. It's somebody else doing something to us. It's a situation that didn't go the right way. It's getting fired from your job, your career. It's starting a business and it failing. It's there's a multitude of things outside of our power that have a way of just beating us down. Mm-hmm. Now, I think the point to this that I'm trying to make is this happens to everyone, mm-hmm. right? We have a choice to make. We have a choice that we can look at something and say, ouch, that sucked. I'm done. I'm never going to do that again. I'm going to crawl inside this shell. I'm going to have all this self-pity and have all these things inside my head. And I'm just going to stay in my safe little bubble.
I'm going to ask you one quick question right here. Have you ever made that decision? Ouch, that sucks. I'm never going to go through that again. And we go down the victim road. Have you done that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Did you end up getting rid of the reality of it happening again?
No.
Okay.
No.
Why?
No, because that's not how it works, man.
Keep going. I'm loving where you're going, so I just want to interrupt with an interesting question of you're using words like choice and you're using words like power, and you're using this language that I love, but I'm wondering if they're catching on to it the same way that I am. Because I'm seeing the way that you've transformed even in the past year. Yeah. Since we've been doing this for a year now, like I'm watching this live, and to me it makes sense, but I don't know if they are understanding. If you're not, go back and even watch our first podcast and come back to now. You'll see the language change.
It is different, man. And I have gone through a lot of changes in the past year. And I think we all have. Yep. Everybody in this room has.
Yep.
Right? I can tell you why. I can tell you a multitude of reasons why mm-hmm. that's happening, and a lot of it has to do with this podcast. A lot has to do with this show, and it seems like the universe is putting all the things in the same place at the same time. And I'm instead of, it's all about perspective for me.
Yep.
Because I have gone down that rabbit hole where I'm like, okay, well, first and foremost, I talk about all the time the war inside my head.
Yep.
Right? That war inside my head is always there's a narrative in my head that's always negative. Mm-hmm. That this is not going to work. The bottom's going to drop out of this. So and so is going to say this. I can turn a blessing into a burden within seconds. And I can live in that burden forever if I'm not aware of what I'm doing.
And now you are aware of why, right? Like when I say that, I mean like, because I've lived in that space too, and it took me a long time to figure it out, and then it clicked. Like, I know what the other shoe feels like when it drops, so I'm looking for it because I'm predicting the future of what I know I can handle, and I've been through negative, so I'm going to attach it to that.
Yes,
there's been far less positive, so I'm not even going to. If I were a gambling man,
I'm not even gonna picture that.
If I were a gambling man, it's 500 on negative.
Yes.
Right?
Yes, 100%.
So you go down this road of negativity, and then I don't know, like it's so crazy because like it's when you get sick, the day you start to feel better and you can eat food like normal food again, you feel like you've been touched by God. Food tastes amazing. The lights are brighter.
Well, I want to. That's kind of the point I was trying to make. Is like there is nothing like when you're going through. And you're in the mindset of this is hard, this sucks, this is horrible. What am I going to do? The finances are off, the job, the career. Okay, I got to start. When you're going through this, you can't visualize if you're not in the right mindset. You can't visualize why you're going through this. This hurts. This sucks. What am I going to do? I'm never going to be able to crawl out of this. I'm never going to be able to save. I'm not going to get any kind of salvation out of what's going on. And the minute, and this is the important part, the minute that you get out of that and you get a chance to look back on it, you're like, oh yeah, that's why I had to do that. I'm looking at some failed businesses in my head right now. I'm looking at a relationship I was in for 8 years. And when that ended, it was the hardest, worst thing I ever was. I didn't want to live. I just went down this dark hole of trying to see how much dope I could take before I actually died type hole. Right. And then, a year later, I'm like, oh my God, thank God that that's over. 'Cause that was miserable, and that's the thing. I think that's the important lesson is it's really hard to project the positive of, okay, I'm going through this. There's a reason for it. I'm going to go through this suffering because there is every good thing in my life had suffering attached to it. I put myself in a place, you get humbled. I think that's the key word. I think you get humbled enough to really start thinking things, putting things in perspective that you need to put them in, because it's real easy to be complacent. It's real easy to live on top and not think about that, right? Being humbled is truly one of the most amazing experiences that you can go through. It sucks when you're going through it, but it's the best thing for you in the long run.
It's funny when we talk about this language and stuff, things like the word humble, right?
Yeah.
It's a very balanced word. And I believe, and I've been actually reading another book, I was going to send it over to you, let me look it up real fast. It's already on my book, so I was listening to it on the way over here. And so it's called Dopamine Nation.
Never heard of it.
You got to read that book.
All right.
So humbleness and all of the good things in life come from a form of balance, right? That we talk about it all the time, work-life balance. Everybody talks about balance. If it's too heavy on one side, it's going to suck on the other side, right? Everything has an equal and opposite reaction. That's science. We all know these things. What we don't understand is, when I'm just finding out from even this book, is that pain, like anxiety, registers very, very similarly in the brain to pleasure.
That's why I like to get. Oh, never mind. Oh,
it's the reality of it. It's
right, Chris.
Double.
Yep. See, double.
Jesus. It forces a space in our head for something different. So what I see when that happens is I feel the pain. I'm not excusing that. Those are nerves firing. That happens. I can allow that to just be lazy in my unconscious and continue to and complain and my life is suck and woe is me. Or I can make a decision with my conscious mind. Yes, this sucks, but what can I get out of this?
Can I ask you something? Like when you was going through that and you was laying in a hospital bed and was there a moment where you was living in that?
Yeah.
Was there a moment where he was living in that pain and going, kind of like maybe in a negative perspective at some point?
So Monday when I got up, I had my breaking point. I got up and I could not walk.
Yeah.
Like physically. And I looked at my wife. I said, I don't understand this. Why is this happening to me? I can't even walk.
Right.
We got in the car. As I'm on the way over there, I'm like, stop. Like, you ain't going to play this game on me, Satan. Hold on. I get that this hurts, but this can serve a purpose for me, and I'm going to find it today one way or another.
What happened there? It just clicked?
I can't live in that. Like that negative, like, what do you mean? Why did this happen to me? Who cares?
You felt that yourself in that negative.
As soon as I felt that energy and I had to look at my wife, I mean, I'm crying. I'm in pain. Like,
yeah.
It felt like somebody took a baseball bat to my groin at that point. Like, can't make it to the bathroom kind of pain.
Yeah.
And I was like, what did you hear yourself, Brian? What did you just say? Everything you're talking to everybody about, and you know the difference. So you had a weak moment, wake up, snap out of it, unconscious. You do not power me anymore. I'm in control.
And in that moment, I'm guessing that everything changed.
Everything.
And that's a metaphor too. That's not necessarily talking about physical pain.
Like, I thought they'd given me morphine all the way. They wanted, as soon as I got there, they were like, okay, let's get you a morphine drip. And I'm like, wait a minute. What? Dude, it hurts, but give me some ibuprofen or something. Like, don't ask me to move around a lot. Make it easy for me to pee right now. And we're good.
Yeah, I don't want that.
This isn't my excuse. I don't want to be doped up. I want to feel this.
Yeah.
Until I physically am unable to handle the pain, I need to feel this. Or if I'm going to endanger somebody, like you stab me in the nut and I kick you in the face.
Doing this for your sake.
And I fought that too. He was just like, I don't know anybody that could handle that, really. Unless you're a monk. You know? But again, same thing. Because they're raised in that space. You ever seen a monk? And the way they train? This is on my bucket list. I'm going to watch this live one day.
I do know the guy. I do know, the guy that set himself on fire. He was in a form of meditation.
Their standard training is to learn how to take impact and understand the pain. That's what they do. They hit each other on the shins with bamboo. They kick each other in the groins and understand the pain. Not that it doesn't hurt. What can I do with this pain? This is a vibrational energy force that's coming through my body. What can I do with it? They're all about purpose. And I mean, that's hardcore purpose. I'm not asking people to be a monk.
Yeah,
I would never be a monk, so I'm not going to even go down that road. You get to make a choice in everything in life, and everything has an equal and opposite, which means there has to be something in the middle. And in the middle is that decision. If you talk about speed, right? Speed in reality is energy. It's either lack of friction, which is causing you to go faster, or too much friction, which is causing you to go slower. It's the same energy force that's causing the motion. There's a decision that's being made. Do I want to speed myself up? Do I want to slow myself down? Do I want to touch the brakes? Do I want to touch the gas? You're controlling by making decisions.
Essentially, do I want to add friction or let it go?
How do I want to live my life?
Yeah.
If God forbid he wants to take me right now, I don't see forbid as kind of a bad thing because I wouldn't mind going, but like, I don't want my wife to go through that. So God forbid.
Right.
What will people say about me in this moment? I guarantee you that I made every nurse that came in contact with me a better day.
I love that.
The doctor was like all happy to see me today. Like I left a good memory for them to tell their friends about regardless of their day, because that's what I could give back in that moment. It wasn't about me, and it's never about me because I can't do anything. You're working on me. Thank you. You're taking this may be your job, but I don't need to make it harder. So I'm making a decision. Same thing with my wife. You're trying to do a craft fair. You're not a doctor. It doesn't mean you don't love me. I just don't know what's wrong yet.
And you can't fix me.
And you can't operate on me, or I just have you do it here.
Which I bet that went through your head.
It definitely went through my head.
Knowing you're like, baby, get the buck knife. Get the buck knife and a gallon of alcohol. We can get this done.
When you get like that really bad like pimple and it needs to pop, but you haven't touched it, and every time you run your hand past it or something, it like stings.
No, I get it.
Make that about the size of a golf ball.
Yeah, no.
That's what it felt like. It felt like my skin was pushing out of me from the inside. But anyways,
I think it boils back down to, in life, in the metaphor that it's attached to this is a simple, and it all has to do with a choice.
Your life sucks because you choose for it to suck.
It's a choice. It's a decision that you make. You are going through some very hard times right now, especially, there's a lot of stuff going on with the world, with the country, and with the job situations and careers, and you got relationship problems, and your kids may be sick, and there's health problems, and there's all these different things. But you have, one thing I want everybody to know is you have the decision to make. You can look at something as a burden, and you will stay stuck in as a burden. Or you can look at something as like, okay, this sucks. What do I do about it? How do I learn from this? Where can I grow? Where can I come back and do this differently the next time or better the next time? Because that's the thing is the pain is the price of admission into recovery for everybody that I know, I'm not saying that's across the board for everybody in the world, but for everybody that I know, pain is the price of admission into recovery. Pain is the price of admission into almost anytime you're leveling up in life, whether it be in your career or your relationships or your friendships or just your day to day, every time you're leveling up, it's going to be hard, which we attach hard to painful and hurtful, and this sucks, right? So I believe that you do not grow in life without struggling because it's the struggle that makes you. It's the struggle that builds. It's what builds your character. It's what decides what kind of a person you are. Are you a victim and stay stuck in this? This sucks. The world's so bad. I'm going to crawl in my shell and die. Or are you the type that says this sucks? Let's get it on.
So you can either be moving forward or backwards. There is no middle. Nothing.
It's like crawling up a hill. This is a good little metaphor. It's like climbing up a hill. You either climbing up it or you're sliding, because if you stop climbing a hill, you're going to slide down.
Yeah.
You're climbing up, man. No one has ever fell to the top of a mountain.
Right.
It takes hard, strenuous, day-to-day, minute-by-minute work.
It's the reality of life, though, meaning science can prove if you want to go down that road. Like, I'm a God man, but if you want to continue down the road of science, science states that nothing is ever truly at rest. Nothing. You can leave a house in the middle of the desert by itself with no one around it, and 50 years later, it'll disintegrate all the way back to dust, and at that moment, it is now no longer in existence.
Right.
But it was vibrating on some frequency to deteriorate even.
Yeah.
That's why they say our soul leaves the body, because we actually decompose and go back to dust, like it says in the Bible. Like, that's energy. It takes energy to make that happen. We're not falling apart. Our molecules are firing still, even though our soul has left our body. Nothing is ever at rest. So you're either moving forward or you're falling backwards. You can't sit still.
Right. I love it.
So you have to make a decision, because even science will say you'll just deteriorate and die.
Yeah.
So what do you want to do?
That's the question.
Like, what are you doing for yourself? I don't care about anybody else. Be as selfish as you possibly can. And for all you people out there that are getting all triggered by this, when you are selfish and focused on yourself, and I am the optimum human being that I can be, I am now a gift to the rest of the world.
Everyone around you is
guaranteed. So I don't have to then go out of my way to be nice to people and do all these things for an outside pleasure and act like some fake good person. No, my life is about me 24/7. And it automatically means when I'm the best version of me, I'm an amazing husband, I'm a good friend, I'm good there for people, but I don't BS if I can't be there for you. Sorry, bud.
I love it.
It's just the way I am. Like, we overcomplicate life, right? I posted something the other day. The reason you're so miserable is because you're trying and focusing so hard on not being miserable that you've lost the whole view on life. You're focusing on all these things that don't matter. But all you need to do is worry about yourself.
That's the key to everything.
That's the truth.
It's just like when we talk about being successful in your careers or a business that you start. You're never going to grasp it if you're not successful here. If you can't do the little things that you set out to do and be successful in them, and that's the small 47 things in your day. That's the getting up on the time that you set. It's the doing the things that you say you're going to do in the morning. It's all these things that you tell yourself that you're going to do. And if you can't discipline yourself enough to do those, no matter what you do in life, it's going to fail, because you're going to grab a hold of something, you're going to be successful, and you're going to lose it because you didn't fix this and this. Right. So, and
it's all possible. So what I started doing, and a little tip and trick for one of you guys, is, I have a journal, and I heard Rob Dyrdek recently on one of the podcasts, and I love the way he does things. He literally measures his day with an actual score. And so right now what I'm doing is writing down 5 things that I want to accomplish that day as a simple level. They're more complicated to them, but they're 5 things. Right. And then it's either yes or no. Did I do it or not? Not half. You did it or you didn't. You can't half do anything.
Half measures avail us nothing.
Right. So out of the 5 things, if I did 4, I got an 80. Not a bad day. I had one where I only did 1. I got a 20. Crappy day, right? So I'm now in this space where I measure the day so that I can go back and be like, that day went pretty well. Yeah. That day sucked. Why?
Or I could do
not
better.
Sucked in like a negative way. It was like unproductive and things got in my way. What did I learn? How did I grow? What happened?
And what could I do better tomorrow?
I'm not superhuman. I still get sad. I still hurt. I still go through all these things. Me and my wife still fight. I still bicker with people. People still frustrate me, piss me off, don't get out of my way, whatever.
Yeah.
I'm human. But I'm focused on allowing that moment to exist and move on.
I love the 1% challenge. It seems so frivolous, right? Just becoming 1% better than you was yesterday. But, you really look at that and you do that for 50 days. What'd you just do? You just became 50% better of a human than you were 50 days ago.
If you can do that for a year straight, you're 3 times better of a person.
Ever.
3.5.
And 1% seems so frivolous, but it also seems very easy to do if you consistently do it every day.
So I ask people, what do you want? That's my question. What do you want? What do you want? Those that are listening right now, pause the podcast, get out a pen and paper, write down the first thing that comes to your mind. What do you want? Then the trick to being happy is to get rid of that want.
I would like for each of you that just did that or are thinking about doing that, I would like you to put down the first thing that popped to your head right down there in the comments.
Yeah, comment down below, please.
Let's hold each other accountable. What do you want? And don't put something down there that sounds pretty. It sounds awesome. Just the first thing that popped to your head. What do you want? And put it right there. And then we'll talk about that. I want to talk about the list thing too for all you guys, because this is one of the most, and I've talked about it before, I'm pretty sure, is that making a list at night, making a task list for the next day is one of the things that absolutely changed my life. And it was something that I had to consistently do for years, because I was one of those people that would wake up in the morning and not knowing what the hell. I didn't wake up with a purpose, or I didn't wake up on purpose, both.
Yep.
Right? So when I make a task list at night, I wake up on purpose as well as I wake up with a purpose. I know exactly what to do. I don't have to rely on this thing to function as well as I need it to function. Or, because I don't know what about you guys, but at nighttime, I'm laying in bed and I'm reviewing my day and I'm looking at things I should have did. And I meant to do that. I didn't get that done. I was rude to so-and-so,
Yep.
and I'm reviewing it. Right. And I'm finding out, just like you said, I'm finding out where I was successful. I'm finding out where I failed. I'm finding out where I could do better. And then I'm making a list of the things I want to accomplish the next day. And if I have that list and I get to check that list off, it's a part of that 1%. It is literally the only reason I am who I am today and what I've accomplished today and what I continue to accomplish is because of those lists.
And you have, okay, so the psychological purpose behind those is repetition creates memorization. Memorization creates habit. If you do the same thing over and over again, it creates a habit.
Yeah.
If you want to learn a way to retrain your unconscious mind, you have to create new habits by replacing old habits. You have to refire and rewire new networks. It's very hard to do.
It's very hard to do.
You have to want it.
But it's necessary.
That's why I say you have to want it, and you'll start to realize with life, the true point to happiness is when your want is no longer existence. Meaning, I want this so bad that I'm willing to do it so many times that it doesn't become a want anymore. It's just part of my life.
It's part of what I do.
This is just what I do.
It's who I am. Yeah.
So you stop the want and it becomes part of you. And this is how manifestation comes into fruition. I mean, there's a lot of other science stuff. I am battling my head so much lately with, I have all this like joy and pleasure and fun and information and all these things that are changing my life. I feel like I'm living in a movie. And I want to share it with the world and get them to understand it. And I'm struggling so hard. Like, I'll talk to my wife sometimes and she doesn't get it. And I'm like, this breaks my heart a little bit because I want you to, not that she needs to feel what I feel because she's perfectly happy.
It'd be great if she did, though,
I've got
right?
so much excitement in my head that I'm just like, I want to give it away. So my call to action in this podcast is interact with us. Like, email us, fans, talkhardfans.com. I want to hear, even if it's just, hi, how's it going? This is who I am. It doesn't have to be anything in specific. Comment down below. Tell us where you're from. Tell us why you're listening. Tell us what your favorite episode was. If this is your first time, awesome. We love you.
Welcome.
Share this with your friends, right? Like, I can't do this alone. Me and Marty can't do this, just the two of us. It's going to take more than a village. It's going to take the world to change the world. Yeah. But we've all got to be willing to change ourselves. And if everybody in the world jumped on board and did nothing but worry about themselves, and by that I mean being the best version of themselves, we could actually change the world.
I love this.
So I'm asking for your help, guys out there. If you're listening to this right now, if you're in the audio version, I don't know how the comments work. You can send us an email, fans@talkhardfans.com. If you're watching this on any of our platforms and you can post a comment, please comment down below. Just interact with us. We will interact back. I want to get curious about things. What do you want to hear about? Am I just not making any sense? And I'll reform this. Like, I'm good with that. But to go from a place of supreme darkness where I was the victim of all victims to waking up with a purpose and being happy every day, and it has nothing to do with money and it has nothing to do with anything outside of me. Like, I just wake up and I feel full and I'm just ready to give it away.
Yeah.
No charge. This isn't a masterclass. This is just interact with us and we will continue to share this stuff.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, absolutely.
For real, like and subscribe this, please. We would like to see if we can get this out to your friends that are struggling with mindset, perception, and maybe in a dark place. And I think a lot of this show and a lot of past episodes has changed. It's changing me. Mm-hmm. I can say that on top of everything. Just our conversations that we have on this is changing me every day. Awesome. So I know that it will do it for a lot of you out there that are struggling with stuff. And as we say always, everything in your life that's going good, bad, or ugly is all about perspective and how you choose to look at something. Have a great day, guys.
Love you guys.